Okay, well, I'm Julianne. I am 33 years old, or 33 years young, should I say.
Right.
I am a married mum of two. Well, I'm not officially married. I can officially be married from today onwards.
Exactly. What a day to mention that.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, as of today, I can apply to be married, but I am civilly partnered to my wife, Kerry. I got involved in politics on the back of the flag protest, and so I found myself on the picket line, so to speak, on the white lines, protesting the decision of Belfast City Council. And it was at that protest that I came into contact with Billy Hutchinson, who I didn't know at the time, which I think was a bit of a shock for him. But I didn't know who he was, and he had explained who he was. He actually thought that I was paparazzi, that I was the press there, looking a story. And obviously through conversation, he had invited me and my wife to come along to a meeting of the PUP to see if we might find a home in the Progressive Unionist Party. I wasn't sure that politics was really for me, because I felt, what can I offer? Politics in this place is very much about the past. And as someone who's grown up in a post-peace or post-conflict society, grown up in peace, what exactly can I offer to settle the problems in Northern Ireland? And so when I joined the party and went to those meetings, it was maybe after my second or third meeting that I realised actually it had absolutely nothing to do with the past. That we were more focused and concentrated on the socio-economic issues that were blighting working class communities. How could we make Northern Ireland a better place to live? Of course, one of my issues was that there was no party in Northern Ireland from a unionist denomination that had came out in support of marriage equality, which at that time was a campaign that had not yet been won. That was considered very controversial in Northern Ireland. So myself, my wife, and a few other young people that were associated with the Progressive Unionist Party met for weeks on end, and we wrote a proposal collectively that would ask the party to enshrine into policy marriage equality, its support for marriage equality. The union and what it means to me has changed since I became a mother. It's, as I said, it's no longer about patriotism or sovereignty or anything remotely nostalgic, but it's practicality. You know, with free healthcare cradle to grave, you know, that's your prescriptions, dental care, free education, social security for housing and pension. It's a better place. Being part of that entity is much better for my children in terms of their future, their ability to achieve and succeed. I mean, it's like an old house. Do you do the old house up and do you fix it? Because the UK is not perfect. You know, I love the place that I live, but I hate the caretakers. Hate's a very strong word, sorry. Dislike the caretakers, you know, the politicians that are in charge. When I hear about a united Ireland, there's two things that strike me. I like the idea of unity. I like the idea of, you know, we share an island. You know, we live on the same island, albeit separated by our political unions or lack of. Well, soon to be our political unions, EU and UK. I like the idea of a shared island rather than a united Ireland. What puts me off about a united Ireland, obviously, is those socio-economic issues. You know, being part of a larger entity means higher public spending, which is beneficial for Northern Ireland, which, let's be honest, is subsidised quite heavily by the United Kingdom. Within the United Ireland, I fear it's not so much the concept of United Ireland, but the driving force behind it. And I find very much that the agenda for United Ireland is about picking the best bits that Northern Ireland enjoys with the rest of the United Kingdom and creating a United Ireland based on that. And you're thinking, well, why are you trying to create something new if it already exists? You know,
how important for somebody like yourself and your partner was the fact that two of the biggest social changes in Northern Ireland's history, marriage equality and then abortion reform, came in via the House of Commons, the British House of Commons? Very important was that to you as a unionist?
It was disappointing that it came from there, because locally it was democratically supported by the House that exists in Northern Ireland for legislative changes. But I think the intervention by the United Kingdom was, or by the British government, sorry, was wholly welcome and necessary, given the stalemate that we had here. And this is what bothers me, Henry, because, you know, in the absence of a Bill of Rights, we basically hand all of these controversial decisions into the hands of politicians that have politically ideological, they're opposites, and they're forced into this arranged marriage through mandatory coalition. It's a little surprise that they can barely get agreement, on what tea bags they're going to have, never mind legislations that impact upon people's lives. So I think it was a necessary intervention. It was a welcome intervention, but terribly embarrassing that it had to come from Westminster. What does it mean for me and my partner? Well, for us, it means that I can, I'll put it this way, up and until today, well, even though we haven't signed our papers yet, but up and until today, Kerry is my wife in all but law. But as of today, Kerry and I can officially, when we sign these papers, can officially in law be recognised as one another's wives. And I think that's massive for us. It's massive for our children. I suppose a missing piece of the puzzle's been found. It caused an awful lot of upset at the very beginning, Henry, when we were going for a civil partnership, and there was that upset about us being treated differently and how we couldn't do those traditional marriages the way perhaps our parents did. And things that they obviously wanted for us, and realizing that their children weren't being treated equally was very upsetting for them. And I guess it kind of felt like Carrie and I had settled, I suppose, to some of them. Now the fight's been won and we can enjoy it with our family.
Do you think Northern Ireland's getting more socially liberal, even while it exists within the Union?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Northern Ireland's people have always been ahead of its politicians. Henry, they are so, on that hill, they are so bogged down and obsessed with the constitutional question, with constitutional politics. Every election in this place is a constitutional show of strength rather than a mandate for socio-economic change. And they're so blindsided by this bitter hatred towards one another, evident in the lack of decision making and the lack of collaboration or cooperation. Why we continue to force them to co-govern is beyond me. It only condemns this place to the politics of fear and division rather than hope and ambition. I very comfortably describe myself as a unionist, as a loyalist. But I hate the acronyms, Henry. I hate lumping PUL and CNR together. And I know it's all about, equality measures and whatnot, but I hate lumping them together because it implies that PUL, someone that's a unionist is within that sector, within the PUL, but it ignores that there's Catholic unionists in the same way that there's Protestant nationalists. To do with labels, I really do hate labels. Sometimes, as I say, it's easier to use the labels than it is to open up Pandora's box and have very lengthy conversations with no end. I love our landmarks that we have, and I like the White Cliffs of Dover. Edinburgh's a good shout, good visit. Really, really good pubs and clubs there too. But from the nostalgic perspective, I love the red telephone boxes. I love our British pop culture as well. Madness, Queen, and we have a really, really booming industry in terms of the creative arts. So much potential even now in Northern Ireland. It really fills me with pride to know that we're fast becoming the hub of innovation and creativity in terms of the film industry and TV. And that there's been a £45 million investment here in the Giants Park for the film industry. We're seeing films being made here. We went global with the Game of Thrones and our Dark Hedges, and it's great to see Northern Ireland recognised in that way, more so than its peace walls and the graffiti or the art that's on the peace walls and people coming to sign a peace wall. Now they're down, they're getting their picture taken outside the Dark Hedges or along the Dark Hedges and visiting Castle Rock. It's those sorts of things that make me exceptionally proud to be part of the United Kingdom and fill me with that nostalgia. If you look at the political, if we did measure the union based on its electoral strength, well, it is over then, given that unionism is in a minority at this point in time across the various levels of government. It's certainly not lost. I hark back to what I said about, I believe that the union is the best place for me to raise my kids. Because of that free healthcare, because of that free education, because of the social security, all of those exist. All of the foundations are there. There's cracks in those walls that need filled in and they need replastered. There's things that need to change in this place and they need to change quickly. And the landlord or the caretaker, whatever way you want to describe them, it's their responsibility to fix it. And they need to be doing it. Otherwise, the tenants will leave.